Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm just letting Eric know about that issue.
Okay. And then the other Zoom we had on the initial training is up on the Marshall's YouTube, just for
awesome.
you guys for reference. Dusty, Robbie. What's up, Robbie?
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's going on, Robbie?
I'm going to send a link out.
Live, boys.
Love it.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do this.
Oh, what's up, Pops?
All right. So we'll see if anybody jumps on, but Dom, take it away. I think, Matt and Robbie and Dusty are going to have a bunch of good questions, but
Perfect.
I would just love to start, go through. Well, I think one question I have is we get prompted every time we sign in to download the app.
Mm-hmm.
But inside the app, we can't see bcteam or any of the data stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's
so
super.
I'm not.
It'd be nice to not have to.
Yeah, I'm not
find that
100% sure with the app, just because I don't really deal a lot with like the whole BaseballCloud like actual development process and like going through the apps and stuff like that. I kind of just deal with like the actual baseball numbers and doing all like trying to teach that way, I guess, or trying to explain the numbers. So I don't know exactly with the app, but I can let like our developers know about that as well.
One issue that we've had is like during coach mode, it asks us to re-sign in with username and password every time like the screen locks up.
Is that using a phone typically?
Yeah, it just it's a constant re-login process that needs.
Yeah, I get that issue as well, just on my phone. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more of a developer problem as well. Just not really 100% sure how to fix that personally, but I've gone to them multiple times now and asked them to kind of fix that. And
all right.
I'm not sure about the bug that way.
Just tell them they need to be mobile first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've worked with developers, and that's what I always have to remind them. Mobile first, guys.
Mobile first.
Yep.
Is that login problem happening, like say on like iPads and stuff too, or is that
just
just like the phone?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm using my phone too, and it's like I'll see a pitch and I want to hurry and go in and track and see where it was, and I'm trying to log in, and then another pitch is thrown, so I miss it. But is that issue of the constant login, does that happen on an iPad? So if we have an iPad, will we have to continually log in as well?
I would assume not, just because the reason why it's happening with a phone, from my understanding, is that it's through you're going through your cellular data instead of using Wi-Fi. So the connection is just not as strong there. Because if it's on the same Wi-Fi, then it should be if your phone or iPad or computer is using the same Wi-Fi as the one that's on the system, then it should be easier to use in terms of not having to log in every single time.
Okay.
But if you're just using cellular,
like if we're using if they're connected to the Wi-Fi on the stadium and then accessing the system through the IP address, the direct IP.
Yeah.
Okay. So we may have to test that. The Wi-Fi is running the live stream and the data from the system. So I just don't know if like having other phones and stuff's going to chew up any bandwidth. If these guys are, watching YouTube videos out on how to call pitches.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, we can figure that out. So
yeah,
let's just jump in. I think if you guys have questions, let's just fire them off. Dom, if you want to share a screen or you want me to share. Really, I think today my goal out of today on this is to, be able to look at this data now that it's flowing in and teaching Robbie, Dusty, Matt, the other coaches, how do we use this to help guys improve? What things, what does a lot of this stuff mean? Like, as I'm looking at a lot of these charts, it's like, I don't even know what this abbreviation is, or these axes on the circles and pitcher stuff. Let's let's just go through it.
I
as
mean,
much
if
as we
it's
can.
easier, if you want to show your page actually and kind of
Okay.
just go on the stuff.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's
just
do that.
what's confusing or whatever questions that you guys have, and I can kind of just answer them that way. It might be a little bit easier because I just want to show you guys like meaningless information.
Yep. So we go into open BC team.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot in here. What I've been doing is like, we'll just use blue versus royal game.
Okay.
So hitting metrics, what's important to know on hitting metrics? Let's just work through these.
So hitting metrics specifically for hard hit percentage, you'll have the two differences just because I think it's over 90 miles an hour is considered a hard hit ball.
On exit velo?
On exit velo, yeah.
Okay.
So just anyone that's hit over 90 miles an hour, that's your just percentage of how many balls that your team has hit throughout the game. This is just a breakdown here, team by team, throughout the whole game.
So this means that hard hit percentage of royal team, 43% of their balls were hit above 90 exit velo.
Yes.
So they hit the ball harder than the blue team last night. Okay. What
'Cause we
about
couldn't-
damage?
You'd stay in the middle of the plate last night.
Guys are chasing pitches according to all this data. So, okay, yeah, let's just work through these, Dom. Damage
Yeah.
percentage.
Damage percentage is a mix between your hard hit percentage along with the direction of where it's hit. So directions on the Acrotech as well. It's just, I think the zero line is straight through center field. That's 0 degrees. And so it'll be damage percentage. Damage percentage is an algorithm between the direction that the ball's hit. So in a gap along with the launch angle and then the distance as well. Just when someone says you made you put damage on that hit, it means like you mostly got a double, triple, homer, whatever it might be. Just something that kind of puts a runner in scoring position or brings in a run as well. So if there was a runner on base and you got a single, you hit a hard hit single or sack or long fly ball for a sack fly, that's what it means just for damage percentage.
Okay.
So they're just having quality at bats or quality contact with runners on or to start an inning, whatever it might be.
Cool. Does that make sense, guys? That makes sense to me. It's a variety of different things, but it's when damage is done at the plate. Okay. And if you guys have questions, just fire them. Like this is what this is for. So GB.
Just ground ball percentage.
How many balls we hit were actually ground balls?
Yeah.
How many were line drives?
Yeah.
How many were fly balls?
Yeah.
How many were pop-ups?
Yeah.
Cool. I did not know what any of that meant. So.
No, you're good. No, don't worry.
Okay. And any questions on those guys?
Nope,
Robbie,
that makes sense.
You're muted, Robbie.
Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
There we go.
You have a question, Robbie?
No, actually it makes really good sense. Very clear.
Okay. And let's go on to pitching metrics. Dom.
Okay. Oh yeah. So,
I mean, obviously, okay. How many
yeah.
walks did we have? How many
walks.
strikeouts? Edge percentage is pitches thrown on the edge.
Yeah, pitches thrown on the edge. Just consider on you see the black squares or the 9 ball on the Acrotech.
Mhm.
So it would be balls that are thrown either on the black of the 9 square or it would be on the corners just around the zone, like just on the edge. Yeah.
Okay, and then that down 31.1, is that from the previous game?
I believe it's just down. It either is down from the previous game or just down in comparison to the other team.
I think
Just
it's
'cause-
just in the game scenario. It's showing
Okay.
who was better,
Yeah.
kind of at a quick glance.
Because if you
Okay.
look back at history, I believe it also shows like red and green, but you would have to compare 2 different games. And I think in this instance, it's just comparing the 2 different teams. So it's
Got
just
it.
the down from the other
That
team.
makes sense if we're looking at the game data. Yeah, okay.
Yep. First pitch K makes sense.
Yeah.
In the zone, how many pitches were thrown in the strike zone?
Yeah, just strikes,
Yep. Whiff rate,
swings and misses.
Swing.
swing and miss. CSW, what's that?
CSW, I'm actually not 100% sure what that is. I believe it is something similar to the whiff rate along with, I think, whiffs in the zone, if I
Okay.
remember correctly.
Chase rate, chase percent, chase bad pitches, chase
Yeah,
pitches out of the
just
zone.
out of the zone, yeah.
CSWs called strikes plus whiffs.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again, please. Called strikes plus whip.
Called strikes plus whiffs is a metric that measures a pitcher's ability to generate swings and misses.
Okay.
This is an
All right.
important statistic to consider when evaluating a pitcher's potential for success in daily fantasy baseball.
Oh, there you go. Let's get our fantasy team. I like
Fantasy
that. That's
baseball.
hey, they
Wow.
that's
Hey,
great.
hey, Jordo,
Keep
put that on
pulling
the
those.
list. Put that
Okay.
on the list. Marshall's fantasy next year.
Yeah,
Okay?
fantasy.
Let's
team.
go.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
awesome.
So Royal pitch. So pitching summary. This seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
How many fastballs were thrown? How many breaking balls? Versus what? I guess did they mix up righties and lefties? You
Mhm.
know, the edge percentage. How many pitches were taken?
Yeah.
How many called strikes, swings, whiffs? Okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
BIP. What's BIP?
Balls in play.
Balls in play. Yeah.
Okay. So then we get same thing for the other team. Plate discipline. This is pretty straightforward to me. You've got your in zone, like pitches thrown in the strike zone, and then pitches thrown out of the strike zone, right?
Yeah.
And swing and takes. So this is kind of helping. How do you see this?
This, I think you could actually incorporate this both in your pitching and your hitting at the same time. Just when you're making kind of the decisions of like, you're looking at post-game reports, you can see just your plate discipline in general with how your hitters were performing and seeing like, okay, were they having the tendency to swing at balls outside of the zone? Were
Like
they
right
making,
here.
yeah, were they making weak contact? You can kind of see like, okay, the other team, they scored 6 runs last night and we only scored 2. Okay, let's look back and see like how many balls we swung outside the zone. What was our tendencies at the plate? What was our discipline like? And then on the flip side, as a pitcher, you can see, okay, well, we won 6-2 and we were on the we were living on the black all night, or we had a higher edge percentage. We have a lot higher chase rate with all of our pitches. Maybe that's why we're getting a little bit better. We as pitchers performed a little bit better than the other hitters just because we were getting them to chase a lot more. We didn't need to throw as many strikes in the zone. We can kind of make themselves get them out.
Got it. Cool.
Now, on that data point there, so like this is tracking in the zone just based on how that box is set up. You know, three-dimensionally, it doesn't matter if the umpire calls it a strike, even though it's out of the zone.
So if it's a called strike and it's outside of the zone, it might be, so the box itself is like a generic base box that we kind of set. I think it's like 1.5 feet up and then like up to 3.5 feet or something like that.
Mhm.
But so in terms of like the height and difference and changes, yes, it will be like shown outside of the zone, but in reality, it won't. So this number can fluctuate a little bit just depending on the umpire. But for the most part,
so it still does, the umpire's call still affects these numbers.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I just want to know that. Okay.
Quick question is, can you scroll right there? These, whatever we're looking at here, the plate discipline, is there an area for cumulative stats, like say the last 2 games? Because like we're playing Royal all week.
Yeah.
So like game 1, game 2 with these where it's combined, is there an area for that?
You should be able to do that. I think it's going to be under team summary total, and you can kind of filter out which games, I believe. If you maybe go to event, date range. Yeah.
Date range, and then click plate discipline.
So like, let's just say
So it would be
19
to 21. Yep, 19-21.
those just over those 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, is it gonna?
That's for pitchers.
And then
Oh.
if you
Okay, sorry,
Scroll
we'll
down.
get it.
and if you scroll down to just apply, it should be
didn't do
Okay,
anything.
so it's more
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah, it's more individual. It won't show like a
What
kind of like a
about
team breakdown
this?
that way. So if you scroll up to, I think this is more comparing just
Oh, that's
players
just players.
individually as
Okay.
well. Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. So that being the case, and then the question Robbie has of like, how do we see this over time, over a week or over, we're a 5-game series. How do we look at this over when we're 3 games in?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on how you could do that. Just
Okay.
I feel like you would have to break it down kind of like by game almost, or kind of by individual per like.
You
the
could just look
league
at each
series.
game's report.
Yeah.
Okay, come up with your own. Okay.
Okay. All right. So where were we? We were here. So pitch log, that's just basically showing all the pitches thrown in the game.
Yeah,
All the data
exactly.
there, not a whole lot. I mean, that would be interesting. I guess, yeah, that makes sense. Home pitchers. So we can pull up each pitcher individually who threw. So like Ben Reimer started, didn't he?
Yeah.
So we've got takes. This is all with CSW, all the same stuff. Plate discipline. Anything on plate discipline you guys have questions on? So what is SWSTR? Swing at strikes?
Yeah.
Swinging strike percentage. No, scroll back up. The only thing I'm wondering. So like the count says 93. Is that for the whole game?
Yeah. How many?
Is that do we have it on Reimers? Because Reimers only threw like 69 pitches, I think, last night.
In terms of like the total number, yes, that should be the total number of pitches that he threw. It might have been like he might have not subbed the pitcher out, whoever was tagging the game. So it might have taken.
What's happening is when we hit pause on the system, this is another thing. It still is logging the pitches.
Oh, it's still, even though it's paused.
Even though it's paused. So that's that's one. Yeah. If you can check on that or send a notice that some of these could be like warm-up pitches.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Let's see. So if we talk that he's got 3 innings, so you're talking at least 24 on top of that would be, yeah, you're right. It'd probably be the warm-up pitches. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That would,
that
math plays.
Yep.
Because we're talking 8. So you had 3 innings. So you're talking 8 pitches each. So 24 plus 69, we're right at 93. So yeah, that math plays. Okay.
So we'll clean this up as we keep going.
Yeah.
And Dom will check on getting that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fix why we can't pause it. So average velo, this all makes sense. Tilt. I'd love to know more about that. We'll get into that. So here, this is cool. This is like, how did he do over the pitch count? Right? Like, and how, in the 7th inning or what happened here around pitch 45. Where
it shows, I think it says like pitch 140 or whatever. Yeah.
Maybe
so that's probably I would assume that's warm-ups, just because, I mean, if he's sitting 90 miles an hour throughout most of the game.
So we can see velocity, we can see the spin rates. Yeah, there's something there. Release height.
Wow, it really dropped in release height.
Vertical break. Anyways, there's a lot of data in there. What are we looking for on spin rate? Why does this matter?
So spin rate's an interesting one. So it matters a lot for fastballs specifically, and then breaking balls, not as much for like a changeup or a splitter. I don't know if he throws a changeup or a splitter, but when it comes to fastballs, the average fastball spin rate for, I think, a Division I pitcher is around 2,100 RPMs. And that's just pure, just throwing it backspin. The amount of I don't know if you know anything at all about spin rate, like just with the RPMs, it's just the amount of revolutions per minute. Yeah. So anything above, I would say about 2,200, maybe 2,300 is increasing the amount of spin. So when that happens, then the ball, to a hitter's perspective, is going to be rising just with the amount of spin that it has. It's going to be, so when the hitter's in the box, it's going to seem like the ball's rising, even though it's actually still dropping. And that kind of plays into induced vertical break as well.
Yeah, so you want to either be on the high end of spin rate or the low end of spin rate. Anywhere in between is not really that good.
Average.
So we actually don't want to be average. You either kind of want to be on the outlying scale eventually, right? So we know where we're at. I don't know how much we can optimize spin rate. I mean, I've got the clean Fuegos. I've got Robbie.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome to use these with your pitchers too. Something I'd like to play with, the fact that we can measure this data. So I may just, make our guys play more cash with them and see over time what that spin rate number does. And so we have an idea of how well that tool is working.
Yeah, we could see if it increases, right?
Yeah.
Track that.
Yeah.
Or decreases. So here
Yep.
now we get into the charts. This is just full spray chart, right? Of where every pitch he threw was at.
Yeah.
All over the zone, basically. This when I was looking at these, it's like, geez, these are not even like we command. So here, release points. Is that what these are?
Yeah. Just from the pitching rubber. Yeah.
So
Is that's looking from home plate,
right-handed? Correct? That's the right-handed pitcher looking at the home plate.
Yeah, right-handed pitcher looking at home plate.
So it's pitcher view.
Okay. Pitcher view.
Why are those all over the place? I mean, don't we want those to be in a cluster, Dom?
Yeah, they should be in a cluster, and sometimes that might just be with warm-up pitchers where guys don't really take,
just getting loose,
kind of just throwing it instead of actually pitching. And then sometimes it might be like, oh, he slipped, a yank, whatever it might be.
Well, that's still shitty on warm-up pitches. I'm just talking from a pitching perspective. Like you should be in the same slot no matter what. So all right, but that does make sense, Tom.
I mean, what would we learn from this as far as like, hey, this guy, when you throw a curveball, your arm slot is different, right? And eventually their hitters they're gonna know that. Is that kind of what we start to see from this?
Yeah, you can kind of just see, you want every pitch as close as you can to being like in a cluster.
Okay.
Just all together. If you kind of see a tendency of maybe fastballs are at the release height of 6 and then curveballs are at a release height of 5.5, then you can kind of see the difference between when he throws a fastball compared to a curveball.
Yeah, and I think that's something, you'd want to talk to your guys about repeatability in your timing mechanism, right? Like if you're not repeating, because I mean, Reimers was not repeating last night. He was getting ahead, he's getting off the rubber, body ahead of the arm. So I could see why those data points panned out that way. If this is still Reimers, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So extension, this is just release point.
Just
down
the
plate.
rubber. Yeah, just down the rubber.
Do we want that? We want that to be as close to the same every time as well in a good scenario, or does it? Not
necessarily. It's more, extension is really just important in terms of like perceived velocity for a hitter. Just if they're farther down the mound, then the ball's gonna be jumping on a hitter quicker. On a curveball, I know there's some guys, like when I was pitching in like high school and learning how to throw a curveball for the first time, my pitching coach told me to like, hey, shorten your stride, get over it that way. So your curveball is going to be a little bit, or any off speed might be a little bit shorter on extension. Extension's really only important if it's just like if you're not a hard throwing guy and you want to get that like kind of like quick jump on a guy.
More. Okay.
Dom, I got a question.
Yeah.
Does Fangraphs have this on the MLB guys? Who has it? It's Fangraphs, right?
I believe Fangraphs, maybe Statcast
or possibly. Or some. Okay. What I was just thinking though is we could kind of take some MLB guys and just show the player theirs and be like, look, this is what we're trying to achieve with more of an MLB guy on release points extension. So obviously I'll have to think of it here. Here's some things that I believe are causing these metrics to be off. So let's work on this in our catch play. And then hopefully over time we cluster up, we're a little tighter, and then we can kind of compare that to what, the most refined pitchers in the game are doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory. Swings, what pitches were swung at, what were they? What pitches were missed, what were they, right?
Mm-hmm.
Balls that were hit in play, what were they and where were they? Does that make sense? So you could say, dude, your changeup's getting ripped, or Like I know you like that slider, but that's actually the pitch guys are hitting. Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or just, where you're missing and getting hit
Yeah.
hard.
Yep. So sequencing, what does he throw first pitch, after a fastball, after a changeup, and after a slider? Is that what these mean?
Yeah.
So pitcher tendencies. Like when Robbie's on the mound, he leads off. He's pretty much, he's throwing first pitch fastball. When he's ahead, so like count sequencing, what the first pitch is. When they get ahead, what is he throwing? That's pretty good, right? I look at that on this, and I think that's, you get ahead with a strike. It's pretty even of fastball, curveball, or fastball slider change of, to me as a hitter, that's makes this guy harder to hit as a hitter, in my opinion.
That's just how good I call pitches last night.
Well, hey, that's
why
I'm looking at this thinking, hey, this actually looks pretty good. When he's behind, we're throwing fastballs. When he's even, pretty even, and full count. So result sequencing after a ball. So this one I didn't really understand.
So it kind of goes back into the same thing as count sequencing. It's just showing that it's a different tendency. So whenever throws a fastball for a ball, then over 50% of the time, then he's going to come back with another fastball or whatever it might be. Or same thing with after a called strike, then maybe you're up in the count. So it'll be a lower number just because you're like, okay, 0-1. Now you can kind of play a little bit, throw something else.
And after a whiff.
What's the AF?
After a foul ball.
Okay.
Cool. That's really cool.
And in the bottom left there, is that like to download those charts? So say we wanted to print those out, we could print that out right there. That's the button we click?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. See that, Matt? So you can print those out and sit down with Dusty and
you also
have a
should
talk.
You should also be able to go, I think at the very top of the screen for this, there should be a download button or a print button
right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can just print. You can just print the whole thing on a PDF or something like that.
Yeah. You see that, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
So it doesn't print from mobile. You cannot generate reports from mobile. It has to be done from a PC or a laptop. Okay. This stuff makes no sense to me.
No worries. Okay, so we'll start with
There's a bunch of different clusters and pitches. It defaults to pitches, but what does this mean?
So if you think about it like an X and Y axis graph, that's the easiest way or the best way to put it. Basically, so the 0-0 point is purely like just straight, no movement,
middle,
no movement at all. Horizontal
is that up here 0-0? Okay.
Yeah, 0-0. So this one, it's just showing the bottom half just because the automatic break, the vertical break is always going to be negative just because of gravity and everything like that.
Yeah.
Got it.
So with the horizontal break, it'll show like the red is fastball. So for a right-handed pitcher, I'm assuming that's what Ben Reimers is.
Yeah, righty.
So
who's missing up and in. So it would be also just arm side run, just he's going to have natural arm side run. So it's always going to move to the positive. So anything to the right on like an XY graph is going to be positive on the X axis. So that's going to be his arm side run.
Dumb it down for me.
This is looking at the plate. This is looking at the plate. So I'm missing arm side is going to be positive. Extension side is going to be negative. Correct?
Yeah. So that's why you see yellow being the slider right there. So you see that has more vertical break just because it's going to be a depthier pitch, but it's also going to be moving horizontally towards a left-handed hitter. So that's why it's going to be a negative horizontal break as well. So it's not bad that it's negative horizontal. You want more of it on a slider, obviously, just because you want more sweep to it as well. But if you just think about it like XY, so it's just it's just the movement profile, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It doesn't. Does it make sense to you, Robbie?
Yes.
It does.
Slowly.
I don't understand
it makes sense to me as well.
Okay. I was never good at these graphs in school anyways. So
Dom, just real quick on this tab, sorry, on the field that Jordan was on here, these fastball dots to the left, that's towards the left-handed batter's box, correct?
Yeah, so the ones that show a negative horizontal break for those fastballs, those I would assume those are more either misreads or just pitches that are kind of just like cut fastballs that he cut in general.
A little bit of move. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I just would assume. They're kind of just more anomalies than anything.
So is the 0 axis the center of the plate, essentially?
Yeah.
And then it's saying that these sliders broke this way, this much, 10 to 15 degrees. It's just showing. Okay, I guess. All right.
Yeah, it's the 0 axis line is straight from the center line of the pitching rubber down to the black or the back tip of the home plate.
Okay. And what about this middle one?
So this is kind of the same thing. It's just induced vertical break and horizontal break. So the horizontal break's the exact same. You'll see the same movement in terms of negative and positive, but induced vertical break's a little bit different than vertical break, where you could get a positive number because it would be with no gravity applied as well, with the spin of the baseball also applied. So anything for a fastball over kind of, I think it's 14 induced vertical break, to the perspective of a hitter is going to be rising rather than falling. So I think a flat fastball compared to a hitter, the easiest one to hit, is going to be something where the induced vertical break and the horizontal break are going to be about similar numbers. So whether that might be 10 and 10 or 11 and 11. So you want something that either is high induced vertical break and little horizontal break, or opposite. If you want to be throwing a sinker, you want less induced vertical break and then high horizontal break.
That's cool. So, okay. So you can identify the guy who just throws a flat fastball, not a lot of movement. That's what these are helping us understand.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What about this target?
So this is tilt and then spin axis, which are basically the same things. It's just two different ways to kind of read it. I like using tilt best just because that's it's just like a clock. So it uses time. So 12 o'clock being exactly like up and down. So it'd be straight backspin on the baseball. So tilt and spin axis is the way the ball is spinning coming out of the hand. So anything, let me see a specific pitch. Could you go to one of the red fastballs kind of in the cluster? So you see that the velocity was 90. The spin rate was 2273, which is average, maybe a little bit above average. The tilt is, for the most of like right-handed pitchers, the tilt is going to be somewhere between like 1245 and about 2 o'clock.
Just
most of the time.
4-seam, 2-seam.
Yeah, just 4-seam with a little bit of run on it. So 115, that's very typical. We like to say that's in like the dead zone for like what occasionally happens for a flat fastball. I think the dead zone is about 130, if I remember correctly, 1 to 130. So it's the same thing with the axis. It just kind of shows it in like a 360 degree kind of circular way that way. So with tilt, it's basically just the way the ball is spinning, and it will kind of give you a little bit more knowledge or a little bit more like evidence on why a ball is not running or carrying with the spin as much or breaking.
So like those change ups off to the left, that would give me an indication that the guy's getting around the baseball.
Getting around it,
right?
might be cutting it a little bit, whatever it might be.
Okay. No, that makes sense, because I'd want my change ups in that, like, I don't know, 345 4 range is what I want.
So
ideally for right-handed change. Yeah, that's what I
over on the other side.
That's how I'm interpreting this right now.
Ideally, you want your changeup. The changeup's going to be the most similar to a fastball in terms of tilt, just because you have the it has typically the same spin, I guess, or the same rotation.
Yeah, just the
as a 4-seam fastball. So
same
it's
spin axis.
Same spin axis. So it's going to be usually fastballs and changeups are kind of be clustered together for the most part. You might have a little bit more sync if a guy's pronating a little bit more, and then obviously it's going to be a little bit less tilt.
So
on
do you go to
that.
this guy and go, dude, show me how you're throwing your changeup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you might need to change the grip that way.
Because it
Or-
doesn't look like a fastball when it comes out of your hand.
Yeah,
Well,
this
right.
is also a really good way to kind of see these 3 boxes that you show here. So if a guy throws 4 different pitches, but you see 2 of them, like he says he throws a fastball, or sorry, he throws a slider and a curveball, but then you look at this page and you see, okay, well, your curveball and your slider are basically the same exact pitch. There's no reason to throw 2 average breaking balls. Let's try to work on one, kind of feel like a middle ground there, and throw one really good breaking ball instead of like, oh, I have a fastball and a curveball. There's just no reason for that.
2 mediocre.
Yeah, the
breaking
only
balls.
way it would work if they're both in the same kind of spot, obviously shape would, but the difference of velo would be the only
Yeah.
differentiating factor that would work against the hitter. But yeah, if they both look the same speed, there's no point in throwing 2.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Thank you. Batted balls. This makes sense. Just what was hit.
Yeah.
LA. What does that mean?
Launch angle.
Launch angle. Duh. Okay. And then how far they went. Okay. So that's home pitchers. Same thing for away pitchers.
Yeah.
Right. Home batters.
Just another quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just kind of heading back to where we're at with the pitches and the pitch sequencing. Again, is there an ability to have cumulative data for these graphs instead of just pitcher by pitcher? You'd say
For the whole game.
the whole game, or for the series, perhaps.
So for the whole game, this would be for the whole game in terms of like the cumulative data.
Even though it's just showing Andrew White.
Oh, you're saying for the whole team?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, you might be able to do that under like kind of team summary and then kind of filtering it out that way. That's the best way to kind of just get like your whole team breakdown, but it still might come in as just like pitcher individuals that way.
So it seems like in team summary, this is where you can run a lot of different stuff, right? Like 19th, 21st. It doesn't look the same.
Yeah, it just kind of shows that like a pitcher by pitcher breakdown.
Okay, so we probably got to get in there and do a little, pen and paper stuff if we want that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, this all makes sense. Home batters. So pitches, what was thrown. Why does it only say 16?
Because you're on Braxton Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would be more of like a individual player breakdown.
Okay. All right. So plate discipline. Okay. Yeah. So individual player breakdown. This all makes sense. Plate discipline. Are they swinging at bad stuff? Batted balls. Pitch of plate attempt. Okay. That's what that means. So the second pitch. That's cool. I haven't seen that one. Pitch sequencing. So this is how
Opposing pitchers.
pitch to.
Yeah.
So Robbie, this would be something like, you could pull this, like it would be easy to go into like this game, print this report, and you could print out like the last 5 games for one kid. Right. And just have them and you could just look at each game and not have to pen and paper it. Right.
Yes.
You could basically just look at each
You
game.
don't. Hey, the thing is, Robbie, you don't need to do this for Whittle. He already knows where we're throwing him.
Yeah.
See, right?
Slider.
Yeah, dude. He gave me a good little grin last night. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, they call it the old equalizer for a reason, man.
Yeah, man. Well, he hammered 4 fastballs. You think I'm going to show him something again? No. Prove to me you can pound a breaking ball, and then we'll change.
So
That's
Dom,
right. It's all about exploitation.
Yep.
It,
So
man.
Dom, on this, how would we use these 3 boxes to work with a hitter?
In terms of kind of like pitch sequencing, count sequencing, you can kind of see it's a little bit more subjective and dependent on who the pitcher is. But in terms of like hitter late game, making batting decisions as well, like kind of pinch hitting situations or anything like that, you can kind of tell a guy going into it, like, hey, this is what you should be expecting. Like, look for it. If he's ahead in the count, or if you're ahead in the count, you can see here that you're only getting a fastball. Like, he's only gotten a fastball when he's ahead in the count. So you can be like, okay, hunt that fastball on a 2-1 count, or whatever that might be. Or anything in terms of being behind, like sit back on that breaking ball, like see one that's hung over the plate, something like that.
Okay. In the game, but this is just for that one game though.
Yeah, just for that one game. But over time, if you kind of see the same tendencies popping up with guys,
Okay.
then you can be more proactive that way.
Okay. Does the sequencing show up on just like on the development, or well, maybe we can come back to that. Let's just come back to something like that. So his at bats, who he faced. What does this count and result? So 1 out.
It would just be the running at bat.
Okay. So this is just 1 at bat.
So that was real quick. That's no balls, no strikes with 1 out. Correct.
Yeah.
That's the situation. So that's the situation he's pitching in.
Yeah. So you can see kind of the result, like you can go down, break down each pitch by pitch, like by the count, see how the spin rate was, what the velocity was, kind of see. And then when he does put a ball in play or something like that, then you can see like how he did against it almost.
And then this is what?
The location of just where he was getting those pitches.
Okay. Spray chart. Oh, okay. So second at bat. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's just breaking down at bats.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So you can go through each at bat if you wanted to, pitch by pitch.
Yeah.
And then where that was. And then here was a base hit. Or foul out. So he got out. He popped it up on a changeup. Cool. Fourth at bat. Same thing. Okay. So that's the reporting on each hitter that we can do. Same thing for away batters.
Yeah.
Umpire analysis. This is like my favorite thing on the whole thing for some reason. Not to rob.
I'm excited about this one too, actually.
Yeah, it's really cool. So okay, so that is inside the game summary. If we go into team summary, what are we looking at here? Like there's tons of data points, but why would we need this report? Or
this is just kind of like a good visual to have, kind of to incorporate all the data that you've been getting throughout the whole year, or whatever, throughout the whole summer.
Okay.
So this kind of is like, to answer Robbie's question, I guess, in terms of like cumulative data, this would be like the page you look at just to see the numbers in terms of how they've been performing overall, not really game by game breakdown, or it doesn't really show like the differences in count breakdowns or how they performed in a specific game, but it's just all of their numbers taken together and just put here.
Okay. And then we can look at plate discipline. So you can see for Austin, first pitch, K, like they're getting a lot of strike. He's getting a lot of strikes first pitch. What is that? Strike percentage?
Yeah.
Just
strikes in general.
Strikes in general. How many are in the zone? Swinging at strikes. So he's not, so that's what that means, swinging at strikes.
Yeah.
So what's a good metric there? The higher the better, right? Like,
yeah, I would say probably around like 15%, maybe 20.
Okay, whiff rate. So we can see that Nico Newhan and Ryan Kucherat swing and miss a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Zone swings, swinging in the strike zone, making contact in the zone. This is cool.
Swing percentage is nice. Just knowing, especially how aggressive guys are early in counts, or just aggressive overall.
Oh yeah.
From a pitching perspective.
So they're swinging at pitches, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, Potestio, like, dude's gonna come, like, he's gonna be swinging. He's ready to swing. So
yeah,
throw 4 inches off the plate early and see if he's gonna go at it.
cool. Awesome. That's how you win games.
Is there a take percentage in here too? Or is that a zone percentage? Is that kind of zone
It
percentage?
would just be zone percentage.
Okay. So the zone percentage of what he swings in the zone, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Of
So
what
he
he
swings-
swings at in the
so he
zone, or how many
swings 70
pitches
so
are
It
in
would
the
be
zone?
zone swing would be the ones that he swings at in the zone.
Over here.
Yeah.
Okay, zone swing. Okay, so let's just look at 100% in the zone. So yeah, he sees
But
it
that
in the
could be
box,
like
he's
he
going
got
at
one
it.
pitch. And so it's
Yeah,
just,
I think this plays out better over 20 games or so.
yeah.
Probably, you know, the data points have better signals there.
Mhm.
Blast motion, what is this? Like for
Blast
the
motion.
the
It's
little hand thing, the bat thing?
yeah, blast motions. It's kind of its own like technology thing, I
Yeah.
guess. It's just a little tab to
Swing
that.
path and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. That'd be cool to get some of those and put them on the bats. Okay, pitching, batted balls, plate discipline, first pitch Ks. It's a lot of the same stuff just on the pitcher side. And broken down per player, right? Like, or are these just pitchers? No, these are hitters.
No,
These are
These should be
pitchers.
just pitchers. Yeah.
those are just
Okay.
pitchers.
Okay.
Click on Ryan, we're just on that little arrow. Does it, what is, oh, then it breaks it into his. So then it brings it.
This is a helpful report,
Yeah.
Robbie. This is what, because this is taking all of his pitches, right? Like when I just did that. If I'm over here,
No, because click it again. Where'd
he go?
Well, you got to go back to pitching. You're
Oh.
in your top. Yeah. So go play discipline. Just click on one. So click it. So look up the top. See, it still says June 21. So this was just his game.
Well, but that's just
Yeah.
that game. The other games would show
Yeah.
up here. So
Try
does this
Can you do that with like a hitter and see if
Yeah.
there's multiple games in that?
okay? So who would be?
Hit Navarez. Just hit Navarez. Let's see what he's doing. So
There
he's
you
got two. Yeah. So he's logged two. Okay.
But nothing's showing up. Oh, so here's your pitch sequencing. Why isn't this showing up?
Click
Oh, pitch outcomes.
batted balls.
Any reason why we're not seeing anything on this?
But,
He's hit like a home run, didn't he?
you might need to click on the
Oh,
game
he's played-
specific.
Yeah, he's played all both games, all game.
Yeah. So click on him again. I'm wondering if you
Applied
just
filters is pitching.
Yeah.
Why is it doing that?
select the date range. Select date range again. Let's try that. No
I
date
think-
range.
Oh, it just okay. Now we can see.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
So that's
Okay,
why
so-
it was on pitching. So here's what you've been looking for, Robbie.
yeah. Okay. So team summary. Can you just? I apologize. Can you start from?
How do we get there?
Yes, please.
So we were in team summary, right? And then it shows all the players. So I clicked on Jaron Navarez. And the filters, for some reason, it's showing as a pitching filter instead of a hitting filter. I don't know why it
Weird.
defaulted to that. So I changed hitting to that, and I hit apply. And now it reran his stuff. So here's all the fastballs he's seen, curveballs, right, Dom? Am I understanding this right? This is like both games.
Yeah.
So this is what you've been looking for, Robbie, I think, or a part of it.
Okay, let me roll
Here's
with
his
here.
pitches. Here's his sequencing. Here's what he's seen over 2 games. Is that right, Dom?
It should be, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So first pitch, fastball 71. Yeah, okay. So it's all the same stuff. It's just cumulative data now. Because he's seen, 27 pitches.
Mhm. Yeah, over 2 games.
Cool. That will be super helpful.
Hold
to-
up.
to get-
Can you go
oh,
back down real
yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Sorry. Right. Nope. Go up a little bit. Okay. Oh, right there. What is that Z zone contact and then zone swing, the Z swing
here?
percentage? Yes. Is that what that is? Z
Yeah.
zone swing? Okay, zone swing. All right. And then O swing is out of the zone.
Out of the zone. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Those are the questions I have. Okay.
So he's swinging at he swung at a couple change ups outside. So there's a ton you could run this report with a player, a hitter, a position player, Robbie, and just this one, I think is more than enough of what you're gonna need to like be like, here's what you're doing, right? You're
Mhm.
swinging at you're swinging and missing change ups. I mean, or take it for whatever it's worth. There's a ton in here. So all pitches, all the pitches that they've faced, fastballs, curveballs, sliders. Okay. So where in the zone are you seeing pitches and changeups down and away? That's way
Now,
cool.
And when I try to, let's see, I went to, man, hang with me just a sec, please. It looks like it defaults to average exit velocity.
I don't know what you're seeing. Oh, this is
And-
cool.
No, it says it right there. Look at your filters. Up.
Right. So I go to
Applied
Navarre,
filters.
hitting 2024 spring, average EV. So we hit the filter,
You got to hit scroll down and hit apply.
hit apply. Okay. So hitting.
So you can run this report too. You can see their heat map, spray charts. Oh, this is good. So you might have to run a couple of these for a hitter. You know, you'd run the pitch outcomes, batted ball. Okay.
Oh, okay. I think that's where I'm missing. Okay. No, batted ball. Maybe it's different because I'm on the iPad trying to look at it.
Maybe.
Because I'm not seeing those graphs of, tendency, so to speak. All right, I should be able to be fine. Let's see, what's my date range?
Okay. You may just have to play with it. Well,
Yeah,
or we'll do a screen share and go over it. So that is super helpful. Okay. Team summary. That's what we're getting there. Pitching. I can go to plate discipline, Ben Reimers. I can see, where guys swinging and missing. Okay. Pretty much the same thing, but this is cumulative. Great. That's
Yeah, and
what,
just inverse from the
okay.
pitcher side.
So we can navigate that development. What is this? This one doesn't make any sense to me.
So it would be, so you would have to select a player, and you can kind of see between a bullpen or an actual game. You can kind of see how the numbers differentiate from one another. This is more for, I think, the spin, the actual like spin and stuff like that.
So, but how do we actually do it? Like we'd have group A, group B. What does this mean?
So if in more instances where he's been throwing, you can kind of compare two different games. So whenever he throws, it's hard to use now just because a pitcher's only been throwing one. He's only thrown one game so far. But when you have him having thrown like 3 or 4 games at this point, then you can look back from his first game compared to his most recent game and see how those numbers change.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pivot table. So if you guys learn how to use so it's really this will be really good on comparisons. Yes, from game 1 to game 2, game 3, whatever, or just trends. So that makes perfect sense, and that's really good. I love pivot tables. Sorry, that's just all I'm gonna say.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
So like for a hitter, let's see. Why is it? How do I get rid of?
Click the top one on group B. Sorry, on group B.
Yeah, you have to compare two.
Oh,
the two
it's
different-
just
the two
taking
different
the
days.
2 that I have picked.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So
have
for
to
a
compare two.
hitter, I think that's who I've got, right? Caden Munster.
Yeah. So this would be, you're selected on the 2 similar games right now. So it'd be, something like that.
Okay. So now I've got, okay, but it would really be like this would be the right way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to compare the two different. Yeah,
A
you're
and B.
comparing
Okay.
two different dimensions.
So let's just do summary.
So
So
sorry.
now you're good. So we can see averages, contact type. Okay. Charts. What is this telling us? Hitter strike zone chart, where he was pitched in game from game A to game B.
Yeah.
Okay. And heat map from game A and game B.
Yeah, it kind of shows his damage percentage.
See if
between
those
the
are,
two
so you can
games.
see if those are changing, right? Like, you know, you were hitting fastballs in really well, and now, you know, now that's cold, I guess, from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be
And
good.
is it
Like
tracking
get a
all
bunch
the data points, or is it just, so is it tracking everything
Hit the balls that
between
he
six?
hits.
Is it tracking everything from 619 through 621? Or
No, it's just 619.
those-
The game, just the
It's
game
gonna-
on 619.
Yeah, comparing 619 to 621.
okay. So as data keeps pouring in, this will just get better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you'll
should
be able
yeah.
to say if someone was, you know, say swinging it well at the start of this sequencing and now they're not swinging it well, and you can maybe pull that chart up as, hey, you're getting pounded in and you're not hitting that inside pitch as well as you were hitting it, you know, early on, right? So you can emphasize on, you know, T work or whatever it is to fix that hot zone of where you're struggling.
Yeah.
Or
Or
just
now,
how we're attacking them too.
well, we've got the pro batter. I don't know if you guys have been to the academy. I set up the pro batter yesterday.
Hmm.
So the nets are
haven't seen
going
that.
in. So you could honestly be like, dude, you really struggle fastballs in. Like, just set the pro batter to throw you 25 fastballs in. And we can work on that along with T work, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Or
That was
curveballs.
going upstairs.
Yeah, so I built it and put it together yesterday. I'll calibrate it today. And they're hanging the nets in there last night. So that the tech cage should be up and running today. Because I'm leaving town tomorrow. So cool. I think that's everything. Right? Is that everything?
This is incredibly in depth. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome. And then Dom, do you guys have like I guess a glossary
Yeah, I have
on your
a
website?
yeah, I have it actually personally. I can shoot it over to Jordan and
Yep.
he can
That'd be
send it out
awesome.
to you guys. Yeah.
Yep.
So is there anywhere we can go to just like I noticed that there is a BaseballCloud blog. Like where are you guys putting out things to help us just learn on the fly? Or I mean, this is pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen did I stop the share?
No.
Yeah.
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 Screen share.
I didn't
Yeah.
stop it. Whoops. So they have a blog.
I
And
have
some of the
not seen
stuff
this.
you have not.
No, I have not. I did not know this existed. I'm not gonna lie.
So there's a lot of, some of the stuff is just articles. But then as I've gotten in, like there's some case studies. I think I texted everybody one of these, like,
You did.
um,
You did. It was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
well written.
Introduction to War. Let's see. Like this, pitch outcomes tab. I think that's what I sent you guys.
Yeah, that's what
But
it was.
inside this, it recommended, and so it's breaking down like, how to read this, how to analyze it, how to help people, and then it's got some related. So like BC team update batted ball tab. So there's just some commentary on how this works and how to read it and things like that. So anyways, that's some stuff I found that is.
Yeah. I'll get that glossary sent over to you guys. It's just kind of like a simple breakdown of all the metrics. It doesn't really show the numbers that we were kind of going over with like zone percentage or swing percentage or whip percentage. It's more based on like the actual metrics that we receive.
Cool.
So yeah, just like the breaks and spins and tilts and all that fun stuff.
Cool. All right. Dom, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah.